In a previous video we gave a quick overview of the system, how it works and how you can create invoices, clients, etc. In this video we're going to have a more detailed overview of the company settings because it's quite detailed. The system can actually do quite a lot. We use it ourselves for billing customers all over the world and present accounts through it. So the first thing you will be presented with is the dashboard. Simply go to settings and you'll see here down the left hand side there's all the different settings that can be changed. The only one that we would suggest you keep well away from is system settings. Do not play with system settings. It will mess up the entire system. So that said, let's go on to the page by page settings. So you'll see here we can set the company name, Acme Trading. If you want to, you can set a tax number. Website address would appear on your invoices, so you can put the website address in. Whoops, 2 forward slashes might help. Getting rid of that might help as well. And you'll see we've just set up a dummy company here. So I'm just going to fill out these details. And for the image, generally we use a PNG file. They work better, of course, with the background being transparent. You just select the image and upload it. Company size, industry, doesn't really matter, but you can fill it out. And then your business address, these appear on the invoice as well. Whoops. So fill that out. This is quite important. We put bank transfer for that, even though the clients usually pay by credit card. Payment terms is important, 7 days, so the system will automatically issue a reminder. Tax rate, unless you're paying tax, isn't important. So that's the business. User details is just your information. Localization, you can set the currency, so I think it's Great British Pound, or British Pound, there we go. Time zone, we'll set that to London if we can. There we go. And date format, we choose that, and then we choose that typically. First day of the week is Monday, first month. All pretty straightforward. Token billing is to save the customer's credit card details. We set this to always, and in the individual customer's account you can turn this off. We don't charge gateway fees. I believe that's actually not allowed now. And here we have the main part where you can add a payment gateway. So for example, we're going to add Stripe, and you'll put in the publishable key, the secret key. One of the important things is selecting which cards the customer can pay with, of course. And that's done. To get the publishable and secret key from Stripe, you log into your Stripe account. Down the left hand side you will see developer tools, and then you'll see the API keys. You just copy and paste those straight into here. Click save. Oh, can't save it because I haven't put the keys in, so we'll cancel that for now. Item details we never send. So then it only sends the invoice number. Stripe then never know which product it is that we're selling. They only know that an invoice was produced by our billing system, and it gives them the invoice number. Tax rates, if you're wanting to insert tax rates, it's possible. Products, you can specify, for example, include the description and the cost. We don't convert the products. We also don't auto update products, and the reason for this is that if you add a product into an invoice and change the details of that product, it automatically changes in the ledger in the stock system, so we don't do that. If you pick a product and then change that product, it only changes on that customer's invoice this way. And you'll see here there's options for notifications. Account management, we generally don't touch. We do allow people to download their invoices though. So something a little bit more interesting, we're on to the invoice settings now. These we generally leave as they are, but you can put your own invoice terms, invoice footer, quote terms at the bottom as well. So for example, we have a standard terms that we put at the bottom of each invoice because we have the net set to 7 days, and in the invoice footer we just put the page numbers, and then for the quote terms, because we do seem to get a lot of customers that think a quote is an invoice, we put this. And we save that. And then invoice design. There's plenty of invoice designs you can choose from. For example, one nice one is the creative. And then, for example, hipster. And you can choose your own design. You can even recreate the design from scratch, but we tend to find that the standard designs are perfectly fine. We tend to use business for everything. Your logo goes up in the left hand corner there. Save that. Everything else is pretty much standard. We don't need to change anything. We don't have passwords for the customers to view their invoices. It just makes it easier for the customer. We used to have passwords, but then it just got complicated, and it was easier to just give the customer a link to the invoice. We attach PDFs to the invoice, so the customer receives a copy of the invoice. However, this can mean that the invoice goes to spam, and when we generate an invoice, which we'll show in another video, we will show you how to create a link to that invoice and just send it to the customer via Telegram, WhatsApp, email, etc. And we attach documents as well. Email signature we don't usually use, but let's have a look. Let's see what we can do with this. You could put your own details in there, for example, the business link, etc. Templates and reminders. You can leave this as standard, but for example, if an invoice is produced on the 1st of the month, the first reminder will go out 7 days after the due date. If the due date is the 7th, they won't hear anything until the 14th. So what we tend to do is set this to 2 days after the invoice date, enable it, then 5 days after the invoice date and enable that, and then the third reminder 7 days after the invoice date and enable it, and then set a an endless reminder to monthly. This way the customer cannot say they have not received the invoice. They will receive reminders, but we also send them a message via WhatsApp. Credit cards and banks is only if you want to accept payments online by direct debit. Generally only works for American bank accounts. Data visualizations is for when your business is operating, where the majority of the money is coming from, who are the biggest paying clients, or who's had the biggest invoices, and products, of course, which are your most popular products. And that's pretty much it. One of the other things you can do is add users to the account. So you can add a user and give them the ability to view elements of the account. You may need to do that if you have a team that manages billing, for example. And that's pretty much it for the business settings. Anything else you need, just get in touch, please.